Hello, students. Today we are going to be talking about how to create a drawing or a layout in OnShape. We are going to be creating the layout of the bearing that we completed from lesson 4. So this is probably going to be a two-part video. In the first part, we're going to talk about how to import the title block and how to include the title block in our drawing, how to insert views, how to scale those views, and how to get proper orthographic views. So how do we get hidden lines? How do we add center lines? And how do we deal with tangent lines? So let's go ahead and let's get started. The first step in creating the drawing or layout in OnShape is to go to my OnShape CAD tutorials work list for the course. And if you scroll down, below all the lessons, I have some links here on creating those drawings and layouts. The first link is to the actual title block that we'll be using in this course that I've specially made. And there's a Google Doc in written version of what I'm actually going to be talking about in this video. So how to create a layout drawing. You'll notice that one of the first things to do is to actually download the Design Tech 1 title block. So go ahead here and go ahead and download that title block, and we will then shift over to OnShape. Once we're back in OnShape and you're in your file, the first thing we need to do is go over to the plus sign here where we can create new part studios or assemblies, and we're actually going to import. We have to import that title block that we just downloaded. So we'll go to import. We're going to go into our downloads, and you should be able to see the 001A title block file. Select that and then hit open. OnShape will give you some progress as to the upload. The upload is complete, so I can get rid of that message, and it will create a whole new tab for that title block. Don't bother trying to look at the title block. It's not really we're not going to be using this tab at all. We just needed to upload that information. So now when we go to the insert new element plus sign here, we want to go to create drawing. And then we want to go to the created by me and find that 001A template that we just uploaded. We hit OK, and it will create a drawing with that template in it. You'll see that the title block gets imported into the drawing that you've created. And it's also asking which part or which part studio do you want to use. We're doing the bushing. We're doing the bearing. So we will select the bearing. And then we need to select the views. So for right now, we're going to select a front view. And if I click once, it'll place the front view. And if I move my mouse to the right, it'll automatically switch to a right side view. Or if I move my mouse to the left side, it'll switch to a left side view. And if I go above, it'll go to a top view. And that's the view that we really need. So the front view and the top view are the two views that really communicate the best shape of this object. The side views really don't give us any extra information. So the two orthographic views we need will be the front and the top view. Now the first thing that we need to notice is that these views are very small in comparison to the title block. So I'd like to have a much larger scale. So the way we're going to change the scale is by selecting the parent view. So the parent view for us was the front view. And if I right click, I'm going to go to View Properties. And in View Properties, there is a scale. This scale, 1 to 4 being very small. So let's try 1 to 1. And you'll notice that 1 to 1 scale is much too large for the title block and gives us no space whatsoever. So we'll need to change that. So let's change this to 1 to 2. And that seems like if we space these views out a little bit, that we'll have plenty of space to add our dimensions and get everything we need. So we're going to go with that, and we're going to say check OK. And we can move these views around a little bit, give them some space. Now, one thing you'll notice is that if I move any one of these views, the other orthographic view automatically moves to be in perfect alignment. And that is what we need for orthographic. We need all the features to align properly. Now, you'll notice that there is actually a label for the scale. So anytime you change the scale, that label will change. What this is communicating is that the scale is 1 to 2. So 1 inch or 1 centimeter on the drawing is actually equal to 2 inches or 2 centimeters on the actual object. So the drawing is half scale of the actual object. Now, the actual label can be moved independent of the view, but if you do move the view, the scale label moves with the view. We really don't need the scale label at this point. We're going to move it out of the way for now. Down here, you'll notice in the title block there's a space for scale, and we'll fill that out a little bit later. So what we really need to do is we need to change or adjust our orthographic views to be proper orthographic views with hidden lines and center lines. The easiest thing to do first is to turn on our hidden lines. You can do that simply by right-clicking on a view and going up to where it says Show Hidden Lines. And you can see automatically that it will create the hidden lines for the drilled hole. So we can see that the drilled hole goes all the way through, and the hidden lines for the slot, and that goes all the way through. But you'll notice that there are a few extra lines in this front view. There's a line right here, there's a hidden line here, and there's a line right here. Those are actually tangent lines. They're marking the tangent points. So where the curve is tangent to the flat surface. Technically, there is no edge there. It is a smooth transition from curve to flat or flat to curve. So technically, we should get rid of those lines that are not visible edges. So again, if you select the view and right-click, there's an option for tangent lines, and you want to have tangent edges hidden, and those extra edges will disappear, and you will see a proper front view with hidden lines. Now the second thing we need to do is we need to add center lines. In the head-on view, that's going to look like the crosshairs or periscope, and there are several center line tools. The first being this center mark tool, which honestly works great if you just want to have a quick mark of the center of any circle or arc. That works very, very well. What we really want to have here is the actual real crosshairs head-on view center lines. So we're going to actually use the 2-point center line tool for this. So go ahead and select that tool. And you'll notice as you mouse along the edge, it'll inference along the edge of the arc or circle. And it looks like an hourglass, but as soon as it snaps to a quadrant point, so 0 degrees, 90, 180, 270, it changes into a square or a different shape. If we click once, we can drag down, and you'll notice it begins to inference off the center, and it'll inference all the way down to the other quadrant point and automatically give you an extended center line. So the center line extends beyond the edge of the object exactly as it's supposed to. We'll do the same thing horizontally. So again, as you mouse along the edge, it'll snap to the quadrant point. And in this case, I want to go to the other side of this circle. But since the slot and this arc are also all in the same center, I'm going to inference all the way across and click on the quadrant point all the way on the right-hand side. Now I just need to do the vertical center line through here. And again, make sure you are snapping to the quadrant points. And you do that for the small arc here. But for the small arc, we're not going all the way across the object. We're only going across this arc right here. So on this side, it communicates that the center, and you'll see I made that mistake right here. I did not inference off the quadrant point very, very well. So I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to select that center line, delete it, and I'm going to redraw that a little bit more carefully this time. So on this quadrant point, inferencing off the center and going all the way to the other side. Great. So what this communicates, what these center lines communicate, is that this arc and this arc are concentric. They have the exact same centers. For the side view, the center lines look a little bit different. And again, I need to inference off the tangent lines. So the tangent point, so I'll use my 2-point center line. I'm going to inference off this tangent point and inference it down here to the front view. And click here and here, and I get my center line, my side view center line. Again, inference off this quadrant or tangent, and click here and here, and I have those center lines. To get the center line through the cylinder or the drilled hole, one easy way to do that is to actually use this other tool, which is the edge center line. And if I select that tool, all I need to do is select the two edges of the drilled hole, and it will automatically put a line right through the middle of that. So I now have my two views with their proper hidden and center lines. So now all we have left is to do the dimensioning, and that'll be done in video number 2.